For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Happy Friday to you, or weekend, or whatever day you're listening to this. See, that's the beauty of not being on the radio on Tuesday at 6:37 p.m. because you can take us anywhere, and you could be in the bathtub right now, you could be traveling, and I just hope you're enjoying the next 30 minutes. You can tune in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. Make sure you subscribe, and would love to hear from you. We're on Twitter at The Scribble Show, and you can also email live at jbonair.com, live at jbonair.com. You know how sometimes you get that little tickle in your throat and you're like, you know what, I should call in sick to work today, right? You're not fully sick, but any excuse to have a day off you'll take, right? Coming up later in the show, 86-year-old country music legend Leroy Van Dyke will be joining us, and get this, in almost 60 years of performing, he has never missed a gig. He's never bailed on a concert. He's never canceled. He's never called in sick. You know, he hasn't had to issue ticket refunds because he was hungover somewhere. That's pretty commendable. 86 years old. He's going to be joining us talking about his decades, 60 years almost, in the music business. So I always love talking with legendary people like that because he's recorded everything. He's recorded almost 500 songs. I don't even think I know 500 songs, period. He's recorded them. So we're going to talk about that coming up in just a little bit. Now, let's get on to some celebrity discussion, because I got to tell you, the past, almost 2 months, on our daily entertainment show called Entertainment Wrap-Up, I don't know that we've gone 2 days in a row without talking about some sort of Kardashian or Jenner story. Now, here's the thing. We know the family loves any sort of publicity. They love to be talked about, whether it's good, bad, what have you. If anything, it almost seems like they thrive on the dramatic, because then, again, people are talking about them. They're in the news. There are pictures on TMZ. People are tweeting about them and whatever. So there's the battle between Rob and his relationship with Blac Chyna. That's Black, B-L-A-C, China, C-H-Y-N-A. You'll always hear me overpronounce that on Entertainment Wrap-Up because I don't know what a Blac Chyna or a Tyga is. So, in case you've been under a rock and you haven't been following, the two of them have been in a relationship for about 2 months now. They got engaged. Rob popped the question about 2 weeks ago, and the rest of the Kardashians and Jenners are sort of pissed about this, according to reports. Now, the reason being is that Blac Chyna is the baby mama to Tyga's kid. Now, Tyga is banging Kylie Jenner. So there's a bit of controversy because the Kardashians are concerned that Blac is just with Rob to piss off Kylie, and potentially even maybe take a shot at Tyga and just raise hell. And it's also now being said in the past couple of days that Blac is just trying to stay relevant and stay in the spotlight and have some sort of limelight cast upon her. Well, now we're hearing naturally that with the upcoming wedding, presumably that they make it to the altar, that this could be a reality show deal in the making, right? Now, we know that Kris Jenner, who rules everything Kardashian-Jenner, is the one who holds the purse strings and just sort of controls everything. So they've got to deal with E, so any of those, not I Am Kate, but any of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the so-and-so take New York, take Miami, take a pill, whatever it is, those are all under Kris Jenner's rule. So it could be interesting because we're hearing that Jenner is not impressed with Blac Chyna, and would she condone having a reality show about this? Now, here's the thing. Money talks in that family. We know that as well. You might recall when Kim and Kanye West got together, at first he wasn't going to be on the show. You're not going to see him. Then, after a few episodes, Yeah, you know what? This is a great avenue for him to be. We're seeing him performing now. We're hearing about his latest show. He's going and doing fashion stuff. And when they had the baby, same sort of a thing. You know, the baby's not going to be seen on the show. We're going to keep that under wraps. We're going to keep that quiet. Now the baby's another star on the show, and we're seeing the baby all the time. So it'll be interesting to see if money does talk, and that, you know, if there is a Rob and Black China reality show. Now, whether that's just for the wedding or if they want their own series, because apparently Black had named her price, saying that she would want about $1 million, which, when you think about it, is really nothing, considering the Kardashians sign, you know, $40 million deals with E! Then again, actually, now that I think about it, that's $40 million. Is that for the group of them? So they're only really coming out with a few $1 million for exploiting their lives on television. Would love to know your thoughts. Again, my email address, live@jbonair.com. live@jbonair.com. Last week we were in Orlando for Dreams Take Flight. Gotta tell you, this is the most exhausting day ever. If you thought that Christmas was long, or even if you're just babysitting a kid for a few hours, I gotta tell you, Dreams Take Flight, it's a great day, and it's touching to see these kids have this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to go to Disney World. In case you missed it, I went from Winnipeg, and we always say Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, for our American friends. We go to Winnipeg to Orlando, in Disney World in Orlando, and back to Winnipeg all in one day. So we're at the airport at 3 o'clock in the morning. You get on the plane. We fly out at 5 o'clock. It's about 4 hours or so, 4.5 hours to get to Orlando. We don't go into the airport terminal. We just sort of get this royal treatment of the stairs are wheeled up to the plane. We come down, we get on shuttle buses, we go to Disney World. We spend about 8 hours there, so basically a full work day, going on the rides, and the kids have these passes that they just go right to the front of the lines. There's no waiting, which is awesome, because when you see these people and they're waiting an hour and a half, 90 minutes they have to wait in line to go on this ride. I don't know why you would do it. You're paying $100 and some to get into Disney in the first place, and then you're killing an hour and a half of your day there. But there's this express pass thing. It's almost like, I felt like it was Amazing Race, that we just go ahead of all the other people. And so we got to go on all the rides. We had a good time. The kids loved it. They get a bit of money to go and buy some souvenirs and get something to bring home with them. And then you hop on the plane at about 8, 9 o'clock. We got home at about 1 in the morning. And then you're dead. I was a zombie. We did this on a Wednesday, and I had a regular workday Thursday morning, which was very tough because I had maybe about 3 hours of sleep. And of course, you don't sleep Tuesday night before you go to the airport because you're up at 2 o'clock to be at the airport for 3. So Friday, I was just brain dead as well. Slept through most of the weekend last weekend, getting caught up because, honestly, your body needs to recharge. It's not like I was just awake for that time. We're talking, you fly, then you're on your feet, you're going on all these roller coasters or whatever it is for 8 hours straight. You're in the sun, you're in the heat, and, you know, it was just the body. I mean, I'm not young anymore, people. I am almost 22 years old, and no, I'm kidding, I'm 33. But it was a fun, exhilarating day. You can go to dreams.jbonair.com, so dreams.jbonair.com, and you can take a look. We've got pictures. There's a pillow fight on the plane in the middle of the flight. You know, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and the kids are screaming. They're hopped up on ice cream, and they're whipping pillows through. It was just a really good time. So again, dreams.jbonair.com. Special thanks to Air Canada. An amazing day. Check it out at dreamstakeflight.ca. dreamstakeflight.ca. Yes. You know, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, Leroy Van Dyke, again, country music legend, will be joining us to talk about his decades of success in the music biz.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Celeb spotting on the Scribble.
He's been making albums since at least 1962. The legendary Leroy Van Dyke is joining us on the line. You know him from What Am I Bid, also The Auctioneer, Walk On By. We don't have time to go through all of your hits. Hi, Leroy.
Well, Probably not. I've done about 400 songs on record, I guess, but they haven't all been number ones.
So let's rewind then. How did you get your start in music? I know you grew up on a farm, you took journalism in school, you were a special agent in the Army. Where did music come along?
It was kind of a fluke. As you mentioned, I grew up on a livestock producing ranch in Missouri and went to the University of Missouri in animal science and journalism. Went to auctioneer school after my junior year, and then went to Korea. And while I was over there, I don't know why or where it came from, but the song just started coming to me out of the air. I wasn't trying to write a song, I never had. But I had a cousin named Ray Sims who was generally considered, and still is considered, to have been the man who totally revolutionized the purebred livestock auction business. He could sell them faster and get more money than anybody alive. So I had heard him sell, and I got enthusiastic about that, and then this song started coming to me while I was in Korea, and I finally wrote it down, came back home, took a job with a newspaper, and got the song on a TV show, kind of a talent contest, which I lost. And but before I got out of the studio, the phone started ringing, and within 2 weeks I had the record out. Within 3 months we'd sold 1 million records, and I was in show business, so it was kind of a fluke. It just happened just that way.
See, who says that you need to win those types of contests to make it big, right?
No, you don't have to.
No.
Nobody remembers who won, or nobody remembers who had first and second place, but it's we're in a funny business, and you never know what the public's going to like or not like.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
I had no idea that it would do that for me. It just changed my life completely overnight.
Well, let me ask you that then. So when you hear a song, obviously you have fans who have been following you for decades. Do you know what they will respond to favorably? Do you pretty much know by now what people want to hear from you?
Not really. In the 400 and some songs that I've recorded, and obviously they haven't all been hits, but
right.
We thought at the time they were good songs and could possibly be big hits, but they weren't. I have probably 30 or 40 that hit the charts, but I don't think anybody ever knows for sure when you cut a record whether it's going to be good or not, because you never know what the composite opinion of the public is going to be.
Right. And at the top I mentioned Walk On By. We all know that song. 42 weeks on the charts, 19 of those in the number one position.
Yes.
I mean, how does that feel to know that you've got this song that everybody is loving, and it's just got this longevity?
Well, it's a bewildering experience and an humbling experience. I was playing a casino up in South Dakota. The phone rang at 7 o'clock in the morning, and of course nobody ever calls an entertainer at 7 o'clock in the morning when they've had a show in the lounge
right.
at midnight. But it was my wife, and she said, "Who would you think had the biggest country single of all time?" And I started thinking something about Hank Snow's Moving On or Eddie Arnold or somebody else, and she said, "No, your record of Walk On By has been named by Billboard as the biggest country single of all time, based on the number of plays, number of sales, and the number of weeks in the charts." And they had been doing research on the top 100 country singles for about a year, and Walk On By turned out to be the top one. And I couldn't believe it for a while, but that's better than getting Entertainer of the Year, because that record still stands, and Entertainer of the Year fades out after 1 year. So it was a total surprise to me. I'm glad it happened, and I accept that, but I'm still really a little bit in awe of it.
So that moment then, or that day even, did you celebrate it all? What did you do?
Well, by that time I'd been in the business a good many years, and when something good happens, from the standpoint of career and marketing your talents or whatever you're doing, the first thing we did was to call our press agent and let him know about it, and he said, "Okay, let's roll." So he takes the ball and and publicizes it and makes sure all the publications and all the radio stations, everybody knows about it, because that translates sometimes into more work. And so that's what we did.
Let's talk about your work, because I know you take performing very seriously. Never missed a performance in over 50 years, is that right?
That's true. I've been in this business almost 60 years here, and I grew up on a ranch with a really strong work ethic. Both my parents were hard workers, my dad and my mother, and nobody in our family ever failed to do what they were supposed to do, work-wise or obligation-wise. And I think that came from the training right here in rural Missouri in agriculture and livestock. So I just had this work ethic, and not only that, my dad ran a small truck line, and I drove semis. I moved furniture and hauled cattle, and there was never any kind of weather or any kind of obstacle that I couldn't overcome to get there. I had to many times airplanes weren't flying, and because of snow, I'd rent a car and I'd get through it and get to the job when the airplanes weren't flying. All kinds of bad weather and everything, but it's just the work ethic and the determination to get there. I've even had to charter airplanes. I've had to rent cars, rent trucks, charter buses. One time even had to go into a dealership and buy a new car and drive away with it to get where I was going. So it's just determination to be where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there, I guess.
I was going to ask, though, what keeps you going aside from the work ethic? Obviously, you must love what you do.
Oh, I do. It's something I've always. There are only four things I ever wanted to do, and I've trained to do all of those. I always wanted to sing, sell as an auctioneer, write, because one of my majors in college was journalism, or raise livestock, and I was training for that. So those are the only four things I ever wanted to do for a living, and I do all four of those.
Still, after all these years.
Yeah. When I come home, everybody thinks I'm crazy. I don't play golf. I don't fish. When I come home, I'm here trimming trees or building fence or mowing grass. I'm working all the time when I'm home, and it's the thing that most people consider work, but to me, it's my form of relaxation.
All right. Now, you're in the Auctioneering Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, the National Auctioneer Association, yes.
I didn't even know that there would be such a title. So what do you have to do? What do you have to accomplish to get that honor?
Well, I was a member. I've been a member of the National Auctioneers Association for a long time. I'm a licensed auctioneer. I've sold everything from buffalo to bulldozers and real estate to rabbits. But that's been a small percentage of what I do. Probably less than 5% of what I do is the auction business itself. Mm-hmm. I've combined the auction activity with the entertainment business when I go to a state fair or a county fair, and they have the sale of champions, the livestock. Many times they'll have me come in there and open the sale, sell the champions, and sell a few head, and then go on down to the stage and do my show. I have sold as many as 80 head of hogs, and then walk down to the stage and do my show. So I've combined those two, but I think the reason they put me in the Hall of Fame was because of the positive effect the song Auctioneer had on the auction business. I think it tripled the enrollment of students in auctioneering schools. It made everybody aware of the auction business. Many people knew nothing about the auction business, but many people were kind of inspired to go to auction school and become auctioneers after they heard that. It just had a profound effect on people, way above and beyond I would ever have guessed. Total surprise to me.
Well, and that says something about the power of song, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Finally, I want to ask, what advice or suggestions would you have for an aspiring artist who wants to have, decades of success like you've had and love every minute of it and keep going until they're, 80, 90, 100 years old?
Well, I can't give a short answer on that. people need to find something to do that they like so well they'll do it for nothing, then learn how to do it well enough to get paid for it. And that's what I did in all four of those categories of occupation. And if anybody thinks they want to go into the entertainment business just to make a lot of money, they better think again, because there's more to it. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of responsibility, and you might make it, you might not. So you have to do it because you love it well enough to just stay with it and do the best possible job. So my first advice to any young person going into the entertainment business would be, first of all, get an education, preferably in marketing, or in some cases in music business. There's a good school at Belmont in Nashville, a good university, Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro has a good course in music business. So you can learn about the business in order to make sure that you have a better chance of success once you get into the business and manage your own affairs. But even further than that, from a personal standpoint, and people don't want to hear this, they think I'm preaching at them, but I'm not. I'm just giving them good advice. All of these young people that think that it's a big glamorous way to make a living, sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But the first thing they must do is take care of themselves and their behavior and take care of their health. And I tell them all, don't ever start smoking, don't ever start drinking, and don't ever get into the drug scene, because it'll kill you.
Absolutely. And you know, if there's anybody who's, as we said, never missed a performance, that's some good advice from you, I think.
Well, I never smoked and never took any drugs and then never took a drink in my life, and that's one of the reasons I'm still going strong at 86.
And you still have that energy to keep going, right?
I'm not going to ever quit.
Well, it's been great chatting with you at Leroy Van Dyke, and we'll be looking. You're still performing all over, right?
Yes, we are, Jeremy. And in fact, we're leaving tomorrow to go to Iowa. We've played every state in the union, shows in every state in the union, and about 10 foreign countries. I haven't played Hawaii, but I've played all the others, and I'm continuing to do that. And we're never going to slow down.
Well, that's great. You know what? That's motivation for a lot of people, I think.
Well, I like what I'm doing, and I'm not going to quit.
Well, that's great to hear. Well, thanks so much for your time. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
We are back here on The Scribble. Jeremy Bradley at the controls. Again, thanks for tuning in at thescribbleshow.com and on SoundCloud and iTunes. I challenge you, by the way, if you know somebody who is interested in listening to podcasts and loves streaming audio and all that other fun stuff, to please tell them about this show. This is episode 61 already, so pretty incredible when you think about it. Doesn't seem like we've been doing this for over a year. And speaking of that, what a great segue. I didn't even plan this at all. Next week, or actually, it's about 9 days from now, I'm celebrating 10 years of hosting the syndicated radio show called Top of the Charts. Now, I know we've talked about it here on the show before, where, we'll have interviews with celebrities, and that's kind of our first flagship show that we ever did. Now we produce the country music show called The Open Road. We produce The Scribble. We've got our entertainment headline show called Entertainment Wrap-Up. But Top of the Charts was the first one. April 24th, 2006 was the day that it premiered. Was not in syndication then. It was just on one Vancouver radio station. And then it's just grown over time. So we've got celebrity interviews every other week. We've got red carpet coverage. We do our travel tourism broadcasts. So, we go to a different place. Let me just, off the top of my head, try to recap the different events that we've covered. We were at the Comedy Central Roast of Roseanne. We were at Betty White's 90th birthday, Celebrity Apprentice finales, America's Got Talent finale, The Voice, the American Country Music Awards in Las Vegas. We were at the TV Land Awards. We were at the Juno Awards in Canada. There's a bunch of them that I'm forgetting. So we've covered lots of celebrity events in terms of red carpet interviews and just schmoozing with the rich and famous, which is kind of funny. We don't do them so much anymore now, and I'll tell you why, is that I'm not Hollywood. It's one thing to talk to them on the phone and have a little bit of an interaction with them. I can't do the whole let's get makeup, let's get dressed up, let's be all phony, let's be all smiles and laugh and pretend we're best buddies with these people who don't care about you. The novelty wears off very quickly. Yes, we do have the opportunity to cover a bunch of events and go to different shows or meet different people, but it just got exhausting after a while because I just thought, what am I getting out of this? I don't need to prove myself. I don't plan to be the next Ryan Seacrest. I'm taller. I'm fully grown. I don't have that desire. But it is fun, don't get me wrong, to sort of play the part for a day or an hour or two and just sort of live that Hollywood lifestyle. Not many people are fortunate to have that opportunity when you live, in Canada or wherever it is. So I'm very absolutely grateful that the show atop of the charts has given me those opportunities. What we do now a lot more is we do travel tourism broadcasts. Read that as be paid to vacation, but we go to a bunch of different places 3 times a year for spring break, summer vacation, Christmas holidays, and we basically do a bunch of things that tourists would do, and we talk about it on the radio, and then we post a whole bunch of stuff online, and we show the pictures and video and run the interviews, and we give people an idea about what they can do in these places. So yes, like I said, it is sort of you get paid to go on vacation. But, we do show a lot of things. We'll talk with government representatives about the city and why people need to check it out or things like that. So, can I list all those places? Let me think about it. Let me just go. I'm visualizing North America in my head. So, in Canada, we've done the Yukons, we've done Dawson City and Whitehorse. We've done Jasper, Alberta. We've done Winnipeg, my hometown. We've done Montreal, Quebec City, Nova Scotia, all over the province of Nova Scotia. We were at the Juno Awards in St. John's, Newfoundland. We were at the Juno Awards in Vancouver, British Columbia. We've done, again, for events, we've done New York. Oh, we've done Orlando. We did it for Dreams Take Flight. We also did it just from SeaWorld and Disney. We've done the American Country Awards in Vegas. And then LA, we've done a bunch of things. We checked out the zoo. We went on a helicopter ride. And then we've done Puerto Vallarta. This will be our 4th time. Now, I know we made the announcement on the radio show, and I think that we sort of teased it here on the podcast, but we're actually broadcasting our 10th anniversary show from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. This will be our 4th visit. Great tourism board there that partners with us for all of these broadcasts, and we're just going to have a bunch of fun. Now, the interesting thing about this is that we're about a week away from going, but I don't have the final itinerary yet. And I'm a bit of a control freak. I'm kind of anal that I need to know what we're doing when. I need to know all the logistics, just because I'm paranoid. When you're going to a different country, it's a little bit strange, right? Because you're not in your element. If I was just in my hometown, like when we were for Winnipeg, and we had a whole bunch of things planned, the weather was crap. We had a contest winner flown in. It was just terrible, terrible weather. Not what he's used to from being on the West Coast at all. That was sort of embarrassing. But at the same time, it was my city. I knew where we were. I knew that it would take 5 minutes to get here, 10 minutes to get there, that we could, if I needed something, we could call this person, make it happen. But it's a different country. There's the language barrier because they speak Espanol, and it's sort of intimidating. And I like to know every bit of detail. We don't have that again, so I can't honestly tell you what we're doing there. I imagine we're going to be celebrating my anniversary. If not, we're going to have to talk to the producers of the show to sort of figure out why. But, it's a great place to go and celebrate. And Puerto Vallarta is, a huge tourist destination. And people go there for weddings and retirements and go to golf or go for conferences and seminars. So we're going to bring you the best again of Puerto Vallarta 2 weeks from now here on the podcast. If you're listening to Top of the Charts and The Open Road, we've got 2 weeks of programming. So the week of April 25th and then the first week in May, we'll have the second Mexico broadcast for you. So yeah, crazy schedule. We're doing like 3 weeks of celebration for our 10 years on the air. I'm not going to tell you about the third week because it's like a month away and I honestly haven't been told about it, so I really don't know the details. But again, I want to thank everybody who makes that show possible, this show possible. That's the listeners, that's the stations, that's the production team, that's the tourism boards, that's the publicists, that's the celebrities, that's anybody who's ever been involved. Our advertisers, of course, we have to thank them. So it's been a great time. And so from Top of the Charts, like I said, we spun into the country music show and then the daily entertainment show and now this podcast 61 weeks later. It's been quite a ride. So if there's anybody who's ever told you that you should give up on your dream or don't try or you'll never make it or you need to have an education or you need to have connections, you need to know people, you need to do this, do that, it's a crock. You can do it. stick to it, be an entrepreneur like I was and like I am still. Best-selling book, I've got successful radio programs, I'm in the newspapers, I'm all over the place. In all honesty, not that I want to be a motivational speaker, but you really can do it. So don't let things stop you. Don't let a rejection, put a halt to your big plans. Like I say, if people expect you to do one thing, do that one thing, and 10 times bigger than they think it was, or should have been. There you go. That's my rant. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Again, my email address, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com, or on Twitter @The Scribble Show. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter @The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat